Tonight, I'm going to make a phone call to a very good friend of mine. We go back a very long way, and this guy, me and him share a lot in common. Now, for a couple of different things. I am the best-looking SEAL in the Navy, and he was the shortest SEAL in the Navy. There's no doubt about that. This guy went through BUDS just a tad over 5 feet. He says he's 5 today. He's sized down a little bit, and he's getting older, and he's just a badass. So he made Rick made the Smurf Crew in BUDS take on a whole new meaning by virtue of size. And a pretty interesting story of how he did it. We met up at SEAL Team 2, and Rick was in Echo Platoon with me. I was his platoon chief. He was a new guy, and we deployed together on the Ponce, USS Ponce, overseas, and we had a large contingent of Marines on there, 500 or 600 Marines on board, big amphibious ready group, and the Marines used to call him Pocket Seal. But that was the last dude that you ever wanted to piss off. Built like a fire plug, Rick could climb straight up you and knock your teeth right straight back into your neck. A really good guy. Certainly put up with a lot in his life being that way, but he makes up for it in a ton of different ways because he's just a badass. So, showing you guys that, you talk about the, get on here, we talk to different SEALs and the SEAL celebrities and snipers and the instructors and all these other different things, and it's only just beginning. So here, tonight, you'll hear the story of the smallest guy, shortest dude to ever get through BUDS training. And Rick does some work overseas right now, and put up a picture of Rick. There he is. So, once a SEAL, always a SEAL. You're going to get it done one way or another. And so he is still doing the deeds overseas. He's been out of the Navy for a while, doing his contracting stuff, and it's kind of what we do, man. You're trained to use a weapon. You just, what else are you going to do when you retire? So a lot of it is staying in that chosen profession. So I'm going to give him a call. Looks like we got a good bunch, and yeah, let's do this thing.
This is Rick.
It's Don Shipley. Rick, what's going on, soldier?
Hey Don, how you doing?
Oh, we're getting it done. I got a good bunch of guys on here tonight, and just talking a few bits and bobs about current events and things like that. And I thought I'd give you a call, and we'll shoot this shit for a few minutes.
Cool.
Now, when you and I were talking, now you and I go way back, but a lot of stuff about you I did not know. And you grew up with a mother who was a veteran Marine, a father who was a veteran Marine, and a grandfather. What was all that?
Well, my grandfather was World War II, and he had joined the Marine Corps and ended up spending a lifetime in it, 20 years. He had 2 sons and his daughter, obviously my mother, and they were all in the Marine Corps. And my father and mother met in the Marine Corps, so I kind of grew up in a military family.
How many?
A bit of a longing to do it, maybe way deep down in there somewhere, but it wasn't at the forefront at a young age.
Now, you had some brothers and sisters, but none of them ever served. You're the only sibling that served.
Correct. I have an older brother that immediately went to college after high school, and he always had aspirations to join, but he never quite had the cojones to do it. Now he served with he was in the penal system for a while as a security guard, as a guard for about 12 years, but never went in real military.
Is that the correct terminology, Rick? Penile, or is it penal?
Well, hey, I don't know.
See, your mind's drifting elsewhere, bro. I think it's the penal system, dude.
Well, that could be it.
There you go, penile. That's a good one, dude. Excellent. Rick, man, when you were in high school, what kind of student were you, man?
Oh, high school. Wow. I was not, actually, academically, I was a decent student. I graduated with a 3.77 average out of 4. I never had a problem doing homework and all that other stuff, but my extracurricular activities were a little on the slippery road, so I did not follow that straight, narrow path, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, most SEALs don't, man. I mean, we never grew up playing violin,
Yeah.
while everybody else was out playing football. We were pretty much renegades, man.
And that's true. I think by the time I was 18, I had already been on probation twice, one for breaking and entering, one for marijuana possession, but by 18, I kind of realized that was a bad road, and I did sort of straighten up a little bit.
Yeah, you and me both. It impresses me still to this day that the best decision I ever made in my life, and I'll stand behind it, is quitting school and joining the Navy. I knew at 17 I was a knucklehead, and I needed to do something, and that certainly came in the form of a ship overseas, man. And I never looked back.
Yeah.
Made good, got my education, and it rolls on, man.
Right.
Now you joined the Navy for a kind of a strange reason to begin with. So you're kind of having a struggle there at home. Why did you join the Navy?
I got out of when I graduated high school. Okay, I was a summer school grad. I messed up my freshman year, so I took some extra classes. Anyway, Desert Storm, Desert Shield was happening. I was living with two other guys. We had a 4-bedroom house, and they were going down a worse road than I was. So after bailing them out of jail a couple times, watching one start getting hooked on some cocaine, I said, man, something is wrong. I got to do something different. And I was dating a girl. She's my wife. She's my current wife. I've been with her for married 15 years, and we've been knowing each other for about 25. I knew that I was going to be with her, and I knew that I needed to do something different. So I had no money for school or anything, and I saw Desert Storm, Desert Shield. I've been watching it on the news, and I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to go do something. So I went straight to a Navy recruiter and talked to them a little bit. I walked straight in and said, look, I'm dead broke. I don't have any college money. I want some college money. What can I do? And they gave me an opportunity. I joined for a 2-year program. I had no aspiration to do anything but go in and get the hell out, And one thing led to another and got me where I am today.
So you just joined the Navy for to get some money and do your college thing, the SEAL thing. You'd never even heard of it or knew anything about that shit.
Actually, I joined because there was growing up in a military family, there was some patriotism there. Okay, and I knew that something was going on. It was overseas. They were making a big how-to-do about it. Bush was still in office, this Bush senior, and I said, I'm going to go serve my country. So I thought, going into the service. I could serve my country, and I could also benefit out of it as well and get some college money. I had no idea that I was going to go in the SEAL team. I had none at all. I went to 2 years and get out. And, in boot camp, that second day of boot camp, they show you this video, and I saw it, and I said, that's what I'm going to do. And they gave me an opportunity there as well. It just kind of popped up. It was in front of me. I said, I'm going to do that. At that point, they asked who wanted to take that screening test. 3 of us in the class stood up. By the way, 2 of us did not have A schools, so we were automatically told to sit down. One guy did have an A school. And then, anyway, the guy that had the A school, he ended up graduating 2 classes before me. This other guy that stood up, he took, after boot camp, we both got schools, and he ended up going, he quit, and then I graduated that very next class. So it was just another one of those, it came up, I was watching the news, there was a war going on, I went ahead and said, I'm going to serve my country. The Navy gave me an opportunity, I jumped on it, and like I said again, it's got me where I am.
Now, how big a man were you? How tall, how much you weigh when you went into boot camp, man?
When I went into boot camp, be honest, if they measure me and I was 5'1", that's probably even a stretch. I could have been just standing up real tall. But I weighed all but 113 pounds when I first got to boot camp.
So what went on with your first screening test?
My first screening test? Okay, so I checked in the hospital corps school, and the SEAL motivator showed up there. He says, who here wants to take the screening test? I was the only guy in the class that stood up. So he's like, okay, well, on Tuesday we're going down, whatever it was. I went down there. Tuesday, I take the screening test. Now, mind you, at 5 foot with a 24-inch inseam, I'm not really a runner. I never was a runner. And I get there, I maxed out the pull-ups. You only had to do 8, and I barely squeezed those out. But you know, I was well into 50-some-odd push-ups and 50-some-odd sit-ups, and I passed the swim, no problem whatsoever. I've always been a bit of a fish, but when it came to that run, I screwed the pooch on that one. 30 seconds, I failed it by 30 seconds. So I didn't pass that first week, and they said, well, anybody can come back and take it again. And I went back the next week, and I smoked it by a minute and a half. But I had that burning desire inside me. I had no idea what it was going to be like to do that measly old mile and a half, you know, which is really not that far. Anyway.
So now you had told me, I'm getting it confused here. You went to Corpsman A school,
yeah,
but you took that screening test every week for the 14 weeks of that thing.
Well, in Corps school, the SEAL motivator there, Dunn was his last name. I cannot remember his first name. He said that if you pass this test and you submit your package, you will take it every week you're here at Corps school. So, and he said, and you will better your times. Also, we had to get up at like 5 in the morning. We PT'd as a group, all the guys that were scheduled to go to BUDS or that had submitted a package. So yes, every single week for the next 14 weeks, we had to go take that screening test. And by the end of the 14 weeks, I think I was up to 22 pull-ups, well over 100 push-ups and sit-ups. The run was still kind of eluding me. I was just not a runner, but then again, I didn't really push it. I didn't train as hard as I could have on the run, and I didn't really have a place to swim. But like I said, I never had a problem with that. But yes, every week for 14 weeks, we had to take that test.
So you get through Corpsman school and you show up out at BUDS. What class was that?
That was class 184.
There you go, man. And how did all that? How many dudes were in your class when you started?
We started with approximately 128, 126, and we graduated with 42. 24 of us were originals. And it was a summer class. Anyway, I would say that I can't say that we were hard class or we were soft class. You know how they say that, the last class was the hardest class or whatever. But I can tell you this: we started Hell Week with 80 guys, and we had approximately 8 quitters. The rest of the guys all got broke, and I mean they got dropped because they were busted up. And my buddy Tilly, who you remember Tilly, we did deployment together. Tilly said that they watched our class get beat, literally beat, so hard, and he realized that we were just getting the shit stomped out of us, you know. So I don't believe that it was easy, and that's why we graduated with so many. I think it was just nobody was quitting, you know. It was really.
Did you have a strong class officer, strong LPO?
Well, we did have Neil Roberts was my LPO.
Holy dog shit. I'll stop you right there to tell these guys. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Neil Roberts was my LPO.
Neil Roberts was at Team 2 with us.
That's right.
And
that's right.
I got some great memories of Neil, but Neil rolled out of the back of a helicopter in Afghanistan when it was hit by some rocket fire and machine gun fire from Taliban in Afghanistan, and was thrown out of the helicopter as it crashed a few miles away. And Neil, unfortunately, alone in the snow out there. Boy.
Yeah.
So put up a hell of a fight, man. What a badass he was.
Yeah, I've been trying to track down that video. Matter of fact, one of the places that I've been working lately, they actually have video of all that, and I've been asking over and over for years now, and they just won't release it. I'd love to see it, you know, just to know where one of my brothers was. But
he put up a hell of a fight, man.
Yep.
Pretty scary damn thing out there, boys. Brace for shock, man. So, I can see Neil being your class leading petty officer, how that would have gone. So, So now you were like me, one of the fortunate ones that was in and out of there in 6 months, man. What's the secret to that?
The secret.
Lucky is what I typically tell guys.
I don't know if there is a secret. It's you know, you got a little bit of brains, you're going to pass a stupid test. If you if you have a little heart, you're not going to quit. But you know, you can't help getting broke. If your body gets broke, you're going to get rolled out of there. Or if they're going to say, get lost, go heal up, get strong, come back.
Yeah.
So there is a hint of luck. There has to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, we talk to the guys a lot about it. You know, some guys are just so susceptible to getting broke all the time, and it just doesn't bode well. You know, you learn there in BUDS whether you're going to be able to take, you know, the punishment a SEAL puts up with out there. Because man, you know, we can't afford to have you, you know, getting broke or hurt all the time. You know, there's really no sympathy for a guy that's, you know, struggling along with some stuff and can't keep up, and wow, you know, he's so tough, you know, we really, you know, it's you're broke, man, you know, it's damn, it's a kind of a weird thing. You know, there's not a lot of rah that goes on out there, you know. It's just looking for guys that don't get sick easy, don't get broke easy, shit like that, man.
Yeah. True.
Now, what surprised me today when you and I were shooting the shit, because you know, you and me spent a lot of time together over the years, but you know that you were a absolute whiz on the O course. If you weren't even close to holding a record with those type of scores, but you still ran like shit and made every goon squad.
Well, yeah, it could have been the soft sand. It could have been I just never ran before I ever went to BUDS. You know, it could have been lung capacity. Who knows what it is? I never had stress fracture, never had shin splints. I ran my ass off. I puked almost at the end of every run because I put out. You know, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Well, what was your O course time?
My O course time was 5:22.
Damn, dude, that is
it was it's pretty fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you even know what the record is?
Matter of fact, Neil Roberts has got the record now. He this one particular day. Okay. Well, when you go to first phase, and you okay, I got to backtrack. We had a fourth phase at that time. People that didn't get there in a certain amount of time, they had to stay at BUDS for at least 3 weeks before they could class up, take the screening test and all that stuff, class up, and then go on. Well, I was like Mr. O course at that time. The first time I ran it was 7 stinking minutes, you know, so which was an actual pretty fast time for your very first time. And obviously at BUDS you got to beat all your time. So when we classed up first phase, they had the 3 fastest guys get up in the class that had classed up from fourth phase. Well, so everybody else is in alphabetical order. Anyway, from that very first O course day, Neil was right in front of me. This one particular day, I told him, and this is the day I ran a 5:22. This one particular day, I think we were in the last part of the second phase. I said, I'm catching your ass today. Well, anyway, the guy pulled away from me like I was standing still, and he had like a 4:42 or some crazy number. I don't know if his record still holds right now. I've not been back to BUDS in years, or to Coronado, but you know,
damn.
What do you do?
You know, Neil was a you know, pretty average sized SEAL. What was he? A little under 6 feet. You know, $170, $180. He wasn't a big SEAL.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know he had the record out there. So you know, what a badass that dude was. Boy, I tell you, man, that boy, that sure hit us all hard.
Oh, it did.
He was a very quiet guy and very funny.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll be damned, I didn't know that. So, but you could kick complete ass. Now, about your size, there are some obstacles on that O course that you know, just inhibit the you know, guys that are shorter going through BUDS training. They're a bitch, but you know, getting the dirty name for one.
Right.
You didn't seem that. You were like a springboard, you know, on springboard or some shit.
It is an intimidating obstacle. I don't care who you are. Most people, you know, they hit that thing and they crack ribs. When you hit it and you can barely even look over, when you jump as hard as you can, and you can't even get over that top log or even that bottom log, and you have to do everything you can to claw, scratch, kick your way over it. It's just amazing. And I remember the first day that I ran it because they had all the green shirt rollbacks and all these other turds out there, and then they had these instructors get to the dirty name, and I went right over it. Now when I hit it, it was like there were hooks in my elbows, I guess, is what they called it, because my feet swung so far under that any other person would have flipped right off of it backwards. But once those feet went up and they came back, just right over it. And it was really not that bad of an obstacle. I don't know. I defying gravity or something.
So what was up with your runs, though?
What was up with my runs? Why I passed every run by seconds, you mean?
Yeah. Well, you got goon squatted. You had trouble on the conditioning runs, and
goon squatted the conditioning runs. Well,
so I mean, here you are breaking. There's these incredible times on the O course. I bet it's 6 or so many hard minutes of just sheer put out. But you'd think running in that would have gone hand in hand for you. You'd have just crushed it.
Okay, you're sprinting from obstacle to obstacle. You're not using a different muscle group, but you're running different. When you're running on a long run, you run in a pendulum type form. Your leg just runs different. Okay, the average person. So you don't pump your legs like a sprinter. Okay, now when you're like I said, when you're on a long run, you don't pump your legs like a sprinter. You run in a pendulum. Well, in this soft sand, you need to run. You got to pump your legs. Your knees have to come up now, especially if you have short legs, because you're sinking into the sand and all that other stuff. My first phase proctor, Hillock was his last name. He told me it had to be an explosion from the thighs. Well, I never really knew how to run. Nobody ever gave me any running tips, and it helped a little bit. But to be honest, it didn't really kick in until I got with a couple cross country runners. And this was by the time I got to 18 Delta. A couple cross country runners, they gave me a couple tips, and I'm telling you, I took my 3-mile PT scores from, say, 24 minutes down to 18, literally overnight. So I just didn't have proper instruction. I didn't know what I was doing, and on top of it, I never really trained to run. So I don't know any other way to put it.
You were like a fish in the water, though, as well.
Yeah.
Outside of that, you swimming, running, physical, just sucked at running.
Yeah. You remember that 2-mile ocean swim we did in the middle of the Mediterranean?
Yeah. We did a lot of swimming on that cruise.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, Nelly. Now, that was when the French guys stole all our wallets when we were out doing the recon. You remember that shit?
No, I didn't make that French trip.
What the hell? Oh, yeah, that's right. Did you show up after that?
I did. I showed up right after that. You remember I had that cut hand. We won't go into that.
Yeah.
We don't need to go into
We were, Rick had injured himself just days before the deployment, and but an awesome SEAL. Typically, he would not have deployed, but Rick, a big, huge part of the platoon. He was a kick-ass SEAL, and I was not going to not have him over there with us. So you showed up a little bit late, but by that time, the French guys had stole all our wallets while we were out doing the recon in France there somewhere.
There wasn't the Beaujolais?
Oh yeah, happened. Perhaps that's what the problem was. It happened to our trip coincide with the Beaujolais Wine Festival, but yeah, we were all out in the water doing a recon on this resort in the middle of winter, and I saw that clown. Some guy ran out the beach about 1,000 yards up and just out there by himself. He was looking at us, and I was like, "Well, that's not good." And what he was doing was calculating in his head, okay, I'm going to break into this vehicle here, I'm going to steal all their wallets, and I bet they can't get out of the water fast enough and run all this distance before I make my getaway. And he was right. But by the time we got there, the only guy that had witnessed it and actually wrote down the guy's license plate that had stolen everybody's shit was a deaf-mute French guy. And, he had a piece of paper with a license. I couldn't speak. Oh God! That was how our med cruise had started, man.
Nice, yeah.
No, now you, no other problems in buds, no second phase, no third phase, anything like that.
No, man, I enjoyed every bit of it, but no problems at all. No problem doing the flights at Frog Hill at the island. Any part of the academics for dive physics or anything like that. I'll tell you what, those twin 80s though were pretty much hell.
Yeah.
We did a couple cattle car appreciations, and I'm telling you, those twin 80s, they were hitting me on the back of my knees. They hung so low. So
big dive bottles he's talking about.
Man, with with that mask on, regulator in mouth, you got maybe a dive suit kit in one hand, you're carrying your buoy and your buddy line in the other hand, and you're trying to run in booties for the next mile. I guess it was that Delta 3 that was over there? I can't remember how far we came from, but on the other side of the Silver Strand, and whew, it was rough, man. And we did like 2 days in a row. Anyway, that was a put-out evolution.
Yeah.
But no other problems. I mean, it was, I can't say it was easy. I will say that after I left, it was missed. It was missed.
What's that?
The hell you went through.
Oh, when you're talking about that? Oh, yeah.
I heard it once that man is at his best when he's in the process of accomplishment. And I'm telling you, if you're going through buds, you're accomplishing something. So it definitely was sorely missed after I left. Of course, I wouldn't want to go through it again, but anyway.
I say the same thing to these guys, a lot of guys, all these guys ever see a lot. Unfortunately, it's just a lot of bad shit that comes out of buds. It's terrible. They see the guys failing. It is, just misery. But the guys get through that shit. I mean, it's SEAL school. You have a great time while you're doing it with your buddies. You don't have the best time of your life, and the best day of buds is graduation. That's for sure. But damn, man, it's if you can't have fun at buds, you just don't belong in teams, right?
I completely agree with that statement. Matter of fact, I remember it was graduation week, and I happened to be walking through the barracks down there, and I saw there was these three guys, and I had just come from a party. We were having a class party, and had me a gallon of beer and a old milk jug, and I came back to the barracks, and anyway, I ran into these three guys. They're in their dungarees, and they were in X Division. They had quit. And I looked at them and I said, "Y'all are idiots." I said, "Do you have any idea if you put up with a little bullshit, what it's going to be like once you get there?" And I didn't know because I wasn't there yet. But I had an idea. I had an idea that it was a school we were at, and it always gets better once you get to where you're going. So, man, and be honest, one of those guys, turned around, wrote a letter to the CO, got reinstated, went straight through that next class. It was like class 187. Went straight through that next class and ended up being a great SEAL. Really did.
Well, the guys, it takes them a trick out there to see what it's like. They all regret that shit, but they're like, okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for this. I wasn't ready for that. And usually it's physical. You hear all this stuff from these guys, and it's all bullshit about buds is 90% mental, 10% physical, and what they don't understand, because that's just fucking stupid, it's all physical. And any mental pressure that you have on you and buds, by and large, is coming from a physical evolution to where it has to pull out your mental toughness. When you're in a push-up position with a bunch of tanks on your back for a horribly extended period of time, it becomes very mental to stay in that position.
Yeah. When you're standing over a log and you're bent over and you're trying to carry it, it's between your legs. They take your boat crew leader. There's 6 of you. They take your boat crew leader out of the picture, put him 100 yards down the beach with a paddle, say, you have to carry this thing bent over between your legs around this guy. And then one guy quits on you, so now you're down to 4 guys. I'm telling you, it really sucks. And you say to yourself, my back is splitting. You're about to start crying. You want to quit, but you know you're not going to quit on your boat crew. You know you're not going to quit on your guys. And you tell yourself, as soon as we're done with this, I'm out of here because I'm not going to put up with this stuff anymore. But then once you can stand up and you straighten out, you go, okay, that wasn't that bad, and you move on to the next deal. So, it is. It's mental. It's mental based on your physical abilities and what's going to be happening to you at that time. It really is.
And it's a hell of a lot easier to go through there being really physically strong because you just endure the mental things more. If you're you're next to me, flopping around like a dying insect or something, and I'm still holding a little strong doing flutter kicks. It's just that much more that you have in you to endure. Now you're pushing the mental envelope like most guys would, where the guys that aren't in that position, they're stronger. They're hurting, but they're not hurting as bad as the guys that aren't showing up like that. And man, they fucking drop fast, dude.
I'll tell you a mental mind game that they played on me the very first day I showed up. Now, Bud's Medical is outside of the main compound now, but it didn't used to be. It used to be right outside of second phase windows. And when I walked up, you stand in front of Bud's Medical, getting ready to check in, standing there in my whites, okay, and this guy walks up to me, and he's standing right in front of me, and I'm looking at his tits. He's a good 6'2" or whatever it is, okay? I mean, he's a good 12 inches taller than me, and I'm looking at his tits, and all of a sudden a tape measure comes out, right? So he bends down, and whoosh, here comes his tape measure, and another guy comes up, and he's standing next to me. He flanks me. He's got a ruler, and they come across that tape measure, and they're going, holy shit, and they're going, where's your waiver, where's this, where's that, you have to be like 5'3" to go to Bud's. I didn't have a waiver, I didn't have any of that stuff, I had no idea, I'd never even heard of it, but you're talking getting a couple tape measures pulled out on you the very first day you're checking in. What do you think that would do to you? I mean...
Well, I'm sure you put up with a lot, because I know you did when you checked into the team and when you were on the cruise, with the Marines. But then you were a very quick guy to prove himself, and people left you the fuck alone, especially when you started throwing those fists of yours.
Pocket seal.
Pocket seal. But did they start that in Buds, and then knock it off when they found out you were there for the there to get it done?
Yeah, actually they did, matter of fact, and you know what? You know how some people just kind of stand out? The real tall guys, the real short guys. Well, I'll tell you what, and I just put out. Any chance I got, I just put out. I did the best that I could, however I could, whenever I could, and they knew that I was working, because those instructors, they're watching. Well, they know what you're doing. They know if you're sandbagging, they know if you're putting out. And because I gave it my all every single chance I got, that they laid off me. It was really not much razzing, Of course, I didn't really have a short man's complex either. Well, some people may say different, but I'm just Rick, I've always been just Rick, and I didn't need to prove myself to anybody, except myself. So.
Yeah, and we tell guys that, there's this misconception too. I've heard it before. See, Rick, all I do on here is kind of dispel bullshit that I hear about SEAL team, from spending so many freaking years in it. One of the good ones is, you don't want your instructors to know who you are. They should think you're a mystery up until graduation, and that's not going to happen. Especially when that class starts getting whittled down. But immediately, when your class is standing out there, the tall guys, the instructors got their eyes on them immediately. The short guys, the guys whose ear sticks out, if God forbid you've got buck teeth, or your eyes are crossed or some shit, I mean, they're going to fucking me. I was a big ogre with a bunch of tattoos, and they're going to know who you are real fast. And,
yeah, true.
Get it done, man. How's this all tying in? I know those dudes out there at some point had to start lighting into you about that, when the pressure was really on, to see how you'll react to it, to see if you were going to throw a hissy, come unglued, lose your temper.
Right. And you're asking if it happened, when it happened. If it did happen, it went right over my head, no pun intended. I'll tell you what, I'm 39 years old, okay, right now, and I still take short jokes. I'll be taking them till I'm 60, 70, 80 years old. And, but, I've heard them all, and it's, I don't know, I just accept it. I know I'm short, I know I'm small, I know I'm a little guy, and, what do? You either accept it or you get labeled with a short man's complex. And to be honest, I don't want somebody pointing no finger at me saying that, well, he's got an attitude because he's a short guy, It's like, look, I know what's between my legs, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and I know what I've done and where I've been. Matter of fact, I look at a guy around the corner from me, and he's a big, strong, good-looking guy. You know, I'm not a fag, but he's a good-looking guy. But in my mind, he's a fag. I mean, you know, he's never been nowhere, never done nothing. He's college educated, and you know, what does he have? What does he have over me?
He's got an office cubicle, and you don't.
That's right. You know, so I don't need to prove myself, and I don't need to blow up because somebody says, "Hey, you're short." Well, no shit. You know what I mean? Come on, dude. You know, I can see that too. I look in the mirror every day, and I got to stand on the box to do it. Come on, give me a break, man. So
there you go. See, Rick, you know, indestructible. I warmed the guys up about you here before I called you and got on, and you know, that was what I conveyed. You know, just really tough guy. You know, very easy to get along with, a pleasure to work with, operate with, and but not the guy I'd ever want to jump up and smash me in the teeth. That's for sure. So you had quite a reputation as a bit of a brawler as well as me. You know, throw it out there and you know, slap a few dudes around that need it.
well, you were a bit like Chris White, and Chris said because he was my third platoon chief, and he said nobody goes to Knuckle Junction without me. So you know, there were a couple times where we may have gotten into something, but it wasn't anything we couldn't get ourselves out of. You know, especially when you're back to back with your buddy. I mean, you know, you have power that way, but. I don't think I ever went out looking for it unless I had one too many cervezas in me.
Yeah, bottle of Bruce Lee and a couple of shots of loudmouth.
That's right.
You know, me and Chris White went through Buds together.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man, we were a team one together, and then you know us out of team two. So White Boy.
Yeah, White Boy.
I'll be
White
damned.
Boy.
I haven't heard that. Yeah. Easy, man. So Rick, man. What kind of tips would you give these guys thinking about going in? You know, it's especially, I will tell you, dude, it's especially cool having you on here showing different angles of, you know, Buds and SEAL team and all that stuff. And, you know, I asked you about it today, and I think you said it. You are the shortest guy to ever get through SEAL training, and quite the fucking badass, and you continue on today. So a lot of encouragement for a lot of these guys out here that are listening and hearing that. What would you tell anybody wanting to go out to Buds, man?
Well, I got a couple things. You know, they feed you every 6 hours. You're going to eat, so don't worry about your gut. You know, you're going to stop every 6 hours, whether you're sitting in the demo pit eating or whether you're running to the chow hall. So you're going to have a break every 6 hours. So it really, you only have to work hard for 6 hours, and then you're going to eat. You're going to take a break. You know, so that's not a bad deal. That means you only have to go maybe 2 evolutions. You only have to work hard for an hour. Then you're going to have a break. Then you can go into the next evolution. So it's not like 24/7. They're going to kick your butt the whole time. I mean, it's just a little bit here and a little bit there. Get past the evolution. Go on to the next one. Don't think about graduation. Just do what you have to do at that moment and get past it. I would say don't sandbag. I remember this one time, just real quick. I was in 4th phase, just getting ready to start, just getting ready to class up, and one of our instructors caught us at the barracks there and decided that he wanted to hammer us. There were 3 of us. We were doing wind sprints, and this one guy, Whitey, he looked over at me after about 8 wind sprints, and he said, "Man, you got to slow down. You're making us look bad." And I looked at him like, "You're a complete idiot. You know, if I put out, he's going to relieve me. I know he is." And sure enough, who was the first to get relieved? I was. Second, Whitey ended up quitting. So don't sandbag. I don't care what the evolution is. You put out all you can, because you're the one that has to lay your head on your pillow at night. You're the one that has to know that if your body breaks, you did all that you could do. But if you sandbag, and you know it, and you will know it, then you're the only one that you have to blame.
There you go, man.
I think maybe the last thing would be, there's a difference between being cocky and being arrogant. And those instructors, if you're arrogant, man, they are going to pick you out. They're going to pick on you, and next thing you know, and you will be gone. If they don't want you there, you will be gone. Now, and a little bit of cockiness is okay if you've tasted a little humble pie, because they can tell a difference in that too. Because every one of these guys, every one of the guys that are wearing a trident, they're all cocky. We're all cocky. We are, but that is shown in your confidence. It's shown in by the way you walk. It's shown by the way you carry yourself. And I mean, do you really think that I'm going to just go advertise that I'm a Navy SEAL? People laugh because I'm 5 foot. They're going to go, yeah, right, whatever. All Navy SEALs are 6'4" and bad as hell. No, you know. So that last part goes along with a little silent professional. You know, just do what you do. You know what you are. You know what you're going to be, and just have fun with it.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you mention that, because there is a big difference in that, you know, in just being a jerk or aggressive or just some loudmouth piece of shit. But I mean, you get trained in buds to be cocky. You know, they want to see that class start, you know, rebelling in some ways a little bit. You know, it's all about teamwork. And when you guys pull together, I remember some of the shit we would scream back at them instructors. You know, at 2 o'clock in the morning, being surf tortured on in Hell Week, you know, and man, that bordered on some, you know, some serious stuff. But you know, it was you can't hurt us. You know, we're not going to quit. We're here for the right reasons, and you know, taken to you know, limits like that. You know, they certainly want to see you. You know, ask for a little punishment every now and then. You know, I was always up for, you know, saying something a little off the wall, knowing I'd get my ass handed to me. But you know, the guys like me and Bud, so you know, it was friendly punishment. You know, and they turn you into a SEAL, and that's very cool what you said about the, you know, what lies next door. Part of what we do down here is show the guys through the courses and what's on here, talking to you guys. Because that is a huge problem at Buds, is not having enough information of what is going to happen when you walk out of those glass doors at Buds and go into those glass doors of SEAL Team next door. And it's worth every push-up that you'll do there, and anything else they come across, man. It is, you are...
You know, that's true. It's very unfortunate. I went from Bush to Clinton to Bush, and during the Clinton years, there was not a whole lot of work. It was few and far between. The guys right now are getting so much work, so much hands-on to utilize their skills, and I understand that's why the attrition rate is what it is now, because they want good dudes next to them, and I can't disagree with that. You know, I think that you know, whoever shows up, they better have it in their minds that they're going to be switched on, that they could potentially go off and die, and they need to know this, because don't just think that it's just going to be some happy-go-lucky, I'm going to get there and all the girls going to run at me, and you know, I'm badder than hell. And no, you're going to work. You're going to work your ass off. You know, I remember they told me, you think you're cold now, and this is in Bud, you think you're cold now, you wait till you get to the teams.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, there's Don Shipley, my first platoon chief. The very first day we classed up, formed up as a platoon, he said, go get your kit, we're doing an ocean swim. We're doing a two-mile gear ocean swim. Well, it was January in Virginia. It was 30, 33 degrees outside. It was not pretty. The sand was frozen. It sucked, and they were right. It was colder in the teams, and that was my first day. So it was kind of a rude awakening, but you know, I wouldn't change any bit of it. I wouldn't change it at all.
No, guys have no idea. You know, Buds is you know, that controlled environment. You know, and you get to SEAL Team, and it's not controlled. It's the real world, man. It's the big boys club, and you know, get out and get it done. And guys work hard, but you know, you spend a little bit in SEAL Team, you'll repeat Hell Week in a whole different way, man. You will grit your teeth and drive on, man. Like, you will push. You use Buds, you know, SEALs use Buds as like a stepping stone, you know. Hell, we did that, you know. Let's see what we, you know, that's a fucked up part about being a SEAL. You know, guys will ask you, how far can you run? I don't know. I've never run that far. I've never stopped. How far can you swim? Well, I know how far I have swum, but I don't know how far I can swim. I've never swam that far. I've never stopped. So, you know, it's everything's still kind of a mystery that you continue to excel and continue to climb continue to just try to achieve these things, and you never really know what you're capable of. I mean, you know,
well,
just fucking keep going, man.
Yeah, I guess of BUDS, you know, to know your body, to know what you can do, and to push past the known.
Yep. Well, it's crazy in SEAL team, man. We have an awful lot of fun. So I don't know, guys. I think, you know, a lot of guys think we just sit around and march to chow every day or some shit, dude. We are a wild bunch of guys, and we move around a lot, and we work hard, and we travel, and we get out and we get it done, and we are. You know, there's just no limits to what you'll do for another guy with you in a platoon, man. It is the platoon, and we don't have time for your personal problems or anything. It is the platoon, the platoon, the platoon. And we certainly take care of all your stuff, man, but don't pack too many bags, because we're going to unpack them and go for a swim in the SEAL team. Get it done, man. Easy day, man.
That's right.
Rick, you're a badass, and you're continuing to do this now after you're out of the Navy, over there getting it done, man. So keep your head down, bro, and take no prisoner. Get it over there and have a hoot. And stay in touch, bro. Stay in touch. Be careful.
I will. I will. It's good talking to you both.
All right, badass. I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. World's smallest Navy SEAL, right there, and boy, I tell you, man, he is something. But you know, Rick is very hard for a couple of reasons, but it's because of the amount of shit, I guess, in a lot of ways he's put up with. But that is one hard dude right there, and certainly somebody you want next to you in a bad situation, because he is just a wow, really good dude, really good guy.